Hey everybody, this is Tracy here with another edition of A View from Tracy's Point, and we are here to recap Queen Sugar Season 2, Episode 12, which was titled Live in the All Alone. So before we get started, I just want to go on record as saying these borderline kids get on my last nerve. And also, in my last episode, if you watched, in my last recap, if you watched that, I had some questions about part of the storyline, and this episode is no different. And if you watch the show, you probably know what I'm talking about, but let's go ahead and get started. So as soon as we get to know Lorna, she is gone into the abyss. She's gone back home. I was like, dang, I was liking Lorna. I was feeling her vibe on the show. And then they just snatched her away from us. So the show opens similar to how it started in the last episode. We got Charley and Remy. And they are at the site where the Brown Sugar Festival is going to take place. And they're going over the logistics of where all the rides are going to go, the Ferris wheels and all of that stuff. And so Lorna, instead of being there with them because she's gone home, she's on the phone with Charley. And so Charley seems to be in a happy place, and she lets Lorna know that she loves her and appreciated the visit. And when she hangs up, Remy shares that he really liked Lorna and learned a lot from her about Charley. And so then the two kiss, but once again, I'm not feeling the chemistry between Remy and Charley. So the kiss was cute, but it just wasn't passionate for me. So I don't know. That's just my thought. Then we switch over to Davis, and he's at the doctor's office, and the prognosis doesn't seem good. So I'm assuming he's torn a tendon or something in his hand or wrist, because he kept doing this, and he had a wrist brace on. And I don't really remember a storyline previously where he had an injury to his wrist, so I wasn't really sure what was going on. But the doctor wants him to go to Los Angeles to see some surgeon to get it worked on. So Davis is freaking out because he knows that he's nearing the end of his career, and he's really, Davis's world is probably all turned all upside down, because remember, he wanted to go play in New York or somewhere, but Charley tricked him into coming to play in New Orleans. And so, things just ain't turned out too good for Davis, and I guess he's reaping what he sowed. But anyway, the doctor tells him best case scenario, he'll be out 6 to 8 weeks and miss the preseason. Worst case scenario, he will be out for the full NBA season. So Davis is a little concerned, and so while he's talking to the doctor, Tamar Judith starts sending him some text messages, and instead of responding to the text messages, he decides he's going to call Charley. But Charley's with Remy, remember? So she doesn't answer the phone, but she's looking like, what the hell he calling me for? And she puts the phone down and tells Remy not to worry about it. Now she's trying to figure out why Davis is calling her, the Landrys. Oh, and before we go back to Charley and Remy, when Charley didn't answer the phone, it went to her voicemail, and then Davis was just like listening to her voice, and I guess he was, feeling some kind of way, but I don't think he ever left a message. He just hung up the phone after the voicemail went off. So back over to where the Brown Sugar Festival is supposed to take place, Landry and the owner of the property, they show up. They ride on down there to let Charley know that there's been a mistake, that they ain't had no written contract, and that Mr. Landry reminded him that he had promised to let him use that land because he wanted to do an auction. So the Landry gets out of the truck, and he's gloating as usual. And he was like, yeah, I hate to ruin what you got going on here, Charley, but the farmers in the community, they like when I do my auctions, and they need this farm equipment. So, sorry you're not going to be able to have your festival, so Charley don't back down. She get all up in his face and let him know that unlike the other people in the community who are spineless, she has a backbone, and he don't scare her. He ain't gonna be pushing her around and ruining her life, but Landry's like, but you ain't gonna have that festival here on this property. And then he takes his little smug ass and get on back in the truck. So Remy makes a few calls and is able to secure, I think it was some church was gonna let them use his property. And even though it was short notice, and see, this is what I'm talking about, it was the day before the festival when Landry pulled this little stunt. But then Remy was able to get this church to let them use the land. So I'm thinking, okay, so now you was going to have all these carnival rides. Now I know when the carnival come to our area, they set up in like big shopping center parking lots, or like business, like little strip malls that's closed down. Sometimes the churches have them. But the carnival people come in the week before, and they set all this equipment up, and then the state come in and they check the safety of the equipment to make sure it's okay. And then they can't get the approval for the carnival until the state signs off on it. But we ain't have none of that going on, because it was the day before the festival. And Charley was out there walking that field talking about where she wanted the Ferris wheel to go and where she wanted the games to go. But that damn truck pulled up with no carnival rides. So I guess they was going to work late into the night to get the rides put together and put up on this property. But anyway, so now we got to move from this property, and we got to go on over here to the church grounds to have the festivals. Now I'm thinking half the day is gone by now. So now Charley got to call the carnival people to tell them, oh, instead of going to this land, you need to go on over here to this land. But we're going to roll with the storyline. Okay. So anyway, later on that night, Charley and Remy, they're at her place and they're playing Scrabble, and things are getting pretty heated between the two. And Charley done straddled the man on the sofa and, kissing all on his face. And like I say, ain't feeling no passion, but look like Charley trying to get her some. Then all of a sudden, we hear that doorknob turn. Remember in the last episode, I was like, why folks just be rolling up in Charlie's house? Ain't knocked on the door, ring the doorbell, door just unlocked. They just open up and go on in the house. Well, this time, it was Micah and David. So Charley heard that doorknob turn. She hurried up and dismounted. So she rolled on over back by this much room between her and Remy by the time Davis came through that door. So Davis was looking like, well, what the hell going on up in here? And then Micah, he feeling himself like, yeah, I got my daddy with me, Remy, just as a reminder that I want him and my mama back together. So Micah walks on by, and, he kind of look at Remy like, hey, went on to his room. And I'm like, okay, so you done brought your daddy up in there. You just gonna leave him in there by himself? But Michael went on in his room. He wasn't thinking, he wasn't getting in grown folks' business. So then David's standing there talking about, so what y'all up to? Where they do this at? So anyway, Charley let him know, what do you want? So Davis was like, what did he tell Charley he wanted? Oh my God, I think he said he wouldn't know where to pick Micah up from the next day or something. I was like, y'all are just too crazy. Charley lets him know, that there's been a change of plans in the venue for the festival, so he needs to pick Micah up at a new location. And so Davis was looking at her, probably like how the rest of us was looking at that TV like, how you having a festival tomorrow and you changing locations overnight? But he was like, what's going on? Like, I don't know. Like, I was so confused about last week's the story about Ernest and Lorna. Then I was confused about this festival and how they was gonna get everything up and running in time. And then it got me to thinking when Davis and Micah walked in that house. And I know I ask this on every recap, and I'm going to keep asking until I get an answer. Where's Micah's car? Did they decide to take the car back from Micah? Because it seems like sometimes Micah be transporting himself places, and then other times Davis be transporting him places. We'll never see Charley take Micah anywhere. So I'm still confused about the whole car situation. So anyway, Davis asks Charley, what happened, and she says it's no big deal, but Remy saved the day. My boo came through for me. So she was all gloating and everything. Then all of a sudden, Remy phone rings. It's like, damn. So he walks into another room to take the call. And then, Davis and Charley, they sparring off in the living room. Then Remy come back and say, sorry, I didn't save the day. Church done backed out. The Landrys got to him. Said, we can't come over there with this foolishness. So then Davis tells her to just do a smaller festival and lets her know that, the whole point of it is having the festival. It doesn't matter how big the festival is. It's just showing Landry that you're going to do it regardless. But Charley's like, no, it's got to be this grand thing. And then he reminds her, he said, don't you remember that year when we were at homecoming and Destiny's Child was supposed to perform, but they didn't show up, and then they had the DJ or karaoke or something was going on. But anyway, he said they had a really good time, and it wasn't the grand event they expected, but everybody still showed up, and it was a great night. And he suggested, why don't you do it over at the farm? Like, wouldn't that really, be amazing? But Remy says that the crops are about ready to be harvested, and which I don't understand, because there was a conversation later in the show between Ralph Angel and Prosper where, well, we'll get to that later, and then I'll tell you why and understand why they couldn't be over there at that farm. Then at the end of the day, they decided that they were going to have it at Vi's place because she had plenty of land. So there was a bit of testosterone going on in the air as Davis, pats himself on the back for reminding Remy that he knows Charley much longer and that he understands how her mind works. It's all about the win for Charley. It's all about the win. So, Remy was looking at him like, you need to go so we can finish what we was doing up in here. So we move over to Nova. So Nova and Robert are going over their talking points remember they were going to be on this TV show talking about the Zika virus and everything. So Nova is already in fight mode. And her and Robert, they spar off in the green room. They're preparing and everything, going over the questions and the answers that they're going to give. So it's obvious that this man loves Nova. And then it's also obvious that Nova is terrified of the fact that anybody loving her. So I don't know how this is going to turn out, y'all. So he has a gift for her, and he gives her a strand of black pearls. Now, I'm not a pearl wearing person, and I know that black pearls are pretty damn expensive. But I wasn't feeling the black pearl necklace, but I thought it was a wonderful gesture, and it went with the outfit that Nova had on. So no problem, never had a man give her a gift like that, so she didn't know what to do with the gift, but she went ahead and put that black pearl necklace on. So once they're about to go live, actually they were already live, and I think they had went to a break, and then Robert checked his social media, and he saw that the show was a buzzing. People weren't really talking about it. So as Nova begins to talk, she uses the term father neglect. So Robert asks her exactly what does that mean. Like, you can't be up here using made up words. So y'all know claws came out. Nova was ready to get all up in his butt. So the two of them get to going back and forth, and they just arguing and came. Well, not arguing, but you could tell that the debate got heated, and then he was like drawing answers out of Nova that she normally would not have said if she hadn't been pissed off. So, Nova, she all in defense mode, and the conversation like turns into, do y'all remember that show used to come on CNN with James and Mary Carville? They were a married couple, and I think one was a Democrat and the other one was a conservative, and then they would spar off. I think it used to come on around 4 or 5 o'clock, and then they would be on there going at it, and you'd be like, how the hell do they live at home going at each other on this TV about political issues? Because people that are really into politics and stuff, they can't shut it off. Ain't no turn off switch for them. So I'm just imagining that would be like being married to Stephen A. Smith. Like, he lives sports. Like, could you imagine being in the house with him and just never being able to get a word in because all he want to talk about is sports? And so Nova doesn't seem to get that, grasp that concept. So after their segment ends, she is furious and lights into him, accusing him of ambushing her. And so he's trying to explain that the conversation was boring and not making a buzz on social media. But once I think he called Nova hysterical on the stage, and that's when she really got pissed. But he said once he did that, they started trending. But Nova, she obviously doesn't understand the whole social media concept, and she just could not or would not see his point, and that he really helped the show. And it took me back to, remember, she was going to have the interview on the Melissa Perry show last season when her and Chantel was together. So Chantal had brought in those people to help her with the talking points and things that she needed to cover, and she got pissed off. And I think that was actually when her and Chantel broke up, because she didn't want Chantel's help. She wanted to do it all herself. So that's the same way that she's acting with Dr. Dubois right now. And Nova she just couldn't see beyond her own ideas and opinions. And so she took off the necklace and gave it back to him and tells him that, she doesn't want him coming down to the Brown Sugar Festival. And then she storms out, all in her funky feelings. And I'm just like, if Ralph Angel don't be working my nerves enough, now I got to deal with Nova. And she is like Ralph Angel on steroids. Like, they are definitely cut from the same cloth. And I'm thinking that they both got their mama ways. Too bad we didn't get to meet Miss Trudy. So Darla and Ralph Angel, they stopped by the High Yellow to let Aunt Vi know that they have their marriage license. Yay! So they let her know that they decided against the wedding and would just go before the judge. And so Aunt Vi, she doesn't, judge them or criticize them. She just lets them know that if they change their mind, that her offer to let them have, her place for the wedding, or if they just want to have a reception after they exchange vows, whatever they want to do, she's there to help, and her home and her property is open for them. So later on, Charley goes to see Aunt Vi, who has made a brown sugar tiara for the festival. And so Charley was trying to reach for that damn tiara, and I was looking at that tiara like, dang, can you eat it? Like, I wonder, how sweet is it? So I don't know if it was just a decorative sugar mold or what it was, but it was real pretty. And so as the two of them are joking around, Nova walks in and tries to touch the crown also. And so I'm like, oh my Lord. So Aunt Vi was like, if y'all don't leave this doggone crown alone, this is my contribution. But she takes it off the island in the middle of the kitchen and puts it off on a counter behind them. So after Aunt Vi leaves the room, Charley asks, where's Robert, because she's looking forward to meeting him. And then Nova lets her know that she told him not to come. And then Charley was like, well, damn, am I ever going to meet the man? So Nova was like, well, did you watch this segment for real last night? And then Charley was like, yeah, it was a bit dry in the beginning, but then y'all heated things up and it turned out to be really good. So y'all know Nova was about to implode, because that was the same thing Robert said he was trying to do. He was trying to pick up the energy and get people on social media to talking. But Charley said, y'all brought it home. It was a home run and I really enjoyed it. So Nova asked, did she think he was dismissive and disrespectful? So Charley says, no, she thought it was good TV, and people don't tune in to see people agreeing with each other. They want to see that sparring and back and forth. And so I'm going to go out on a limb and say that Nova has no clue whatsoever about any of them shows I was talking about, the James and Mary Carville, Stephen A. Smith, and Max guy he be arguing with all the time. Or even like that she watched TV One with Roland Martin, and how they have all the black people on that panel talking about the same issues facing the black community, but it always be one or two that's going against the grain, and then they just get the name calling and fighting and carrying on. So she has, like my daughter doesn't watch TV. My oldest daughter lives in California. When I went to visit her, she didn't even have cable. So y'all know I was really miserable. I was like, who lives without a TV? But she listens to NPR on the radio. She doesn't listen to regular radio stations or anything. So Nova strikes me as that type of person. So she's probably totally unaware of how this whole entertainment, news, and politics interact with each other nowadays. So she tells Charley, Robert switched things up on the air without warning her ahead of time, because we know if he had told her that ahead of time, Nova wouldn't have went for it and would have been saying, I ain't going back out there on the air. We got to do it that way. So Charley admits that, he was wrong for doing that, and she would tell him if she ever got a chance to meet him. So basically, Nova, get over your damn self. It wasn't that serious. All of a sudden, David shows up, and Kiki and Micah are outside hanging decorations. Now, guys, it is the day of the festival. Still ain't nothing showed up. Ain't no rides, no carnival games, nothing. It's in the afternoon. When is the Brown Sugar Festival? What time is supposed to take place? And if the people show up with the stuff, are they going to have time to put it up and check it and all that stuff? But anyway, Now, I could have sworn that Kiki was with Micah that day when Micah went into that restaurant when Davis was having lunch with the Tamar Julius lady. But maybe Kiki stayed outside and never got a chance to meet Davis. But then they went back to the apartment, and I'm sure maybe Kiki was gone when Davis came home. Okay, y'all, don't cuss me out. But anyway, this is his first time meeting Kiki, and so he tells Kiki that she can call him Davis, and Kiki was like, no, I call you Mr. West. So like, love Kiki to death. We only met the daddy. We ain't met the mama. We don't even know where they at no more because they done wrote them out the show. Kiki is very well versed. She's very home training and everything, and she exhibits it in everything that she does. So when Davis gets inside, Charley is on the phone. So Landry has stopped all the traffic to St. Josephine. So she has no rides, no games, no food, no nothing. So Aunt Vi and Nova tell her, not to quit, that they just have to scale it down a little bit more. I'm thinking, what's left? Like, y'all got no food, no games, no rides. What y'all gonna do? So then I think somebody came through, but was it Ralph Angel and said, make it a potluck? So now we got to get the word out to the community to cook something and bring it on to the festival. So then Nova says, well, it looked like it's gonna rain anyway, so they tell her to have it over there at the sugar mill, because that's what the sugar mill was all about anyway. So then David says that he can get Tamar Judith to perform. So do Tamar Judith live in the area? Like, she had no performances scheduled. She just dropped what she doing at a moment's notice, get her band together, and come on over here and perform for your ex-wife. It's just me, guys. It's just, bear with me. So everyone's excited, that Tamar Judith may be coming to perform. But Charley look at that Davis like, Negro, I know darn well you are not dating this woman and about to bring her to my festival. But Davis was all full of himself. He didn't even realize what he had done said or done. So during the festival, Aunt Vi is boxing up some of her pies when Darla comes in looking like she is in a state of shock and she's crying. And so she tells Aunt Vi that her parents called and that they said they were coming. Now, I thought they were coming to the festival. So I'm like, damn, we got to meet Darla's parents. But then I realized she was upset because they said they were coming to the wedding. But remember, they didn't cancel the wedding because they ain't got no money. They all just going down to the courthouse. So internally, she was feeling like a failure again and that it wasn't going to be good enough. So Aunt Vi, she comes with a good story about, her husband and falling in love and how, he was the ice cream, the cookies, and the fruit punch and everything else. And then the story went to how he started beating her. So I was like, where's Aunt Vi going with this story? But what she was trying to say was that she had boosted up her love to the community. And then when he beat her up, everybody was talking about her and she felt like they were judging her, but she had to face it head on. And so she was telling Darla, that that's what she needs to do and just hold her head up and stand strong in her decisions and don't feel ashamed or judged by, not being able to have a wedding. And then she lets Darla know that the offer still stands, that whatever they want to do at her place, if they want to have a wedding, a reception, that the offer is still on the table. So y'all know Ralph Angel wouldn't be Ralph Angel if he wasn't acting a fool about something. So Ralph Angel, and I think I mentioned this earlier, where he meets with Prosper. So Prosper goes over his books and everything, and he tells Ralph Angel that he's going to break even on the farm and that this is really a good thing. And so now remember earlier when they were talking about moving the festival to the farm, Remy said that the crops were ready to come in. So I'm trying to figure out how Prosper did the books and told Ralph Angel that he was going to break even if they ain't even harvested the crops, ran them through the mill, made sure the crops were good and, they were going to be able to resell the stuff and all of that. So Ralph Angel sees it as a bad thing, that he's going to break even. And then Prosper lets him know that the first 7 years he had his farm he was operating at a loss the entire time, and he says that if he had broken even just one time, that things would have turned out different for him. So then Ralph Angel, he was kind of understanding where he was coming from. Then Ralph Angel admits that the reason he was so upset is because he wants to give Darla a real wedding, but now he can't. So that was the day before when they were having that conversation. So now it's the day of the festival, and Ralph Angel and Hollywood are rolling out the artificial grass inside the sugar mill when he confesses to Hollywood that he's broke. So I can't help but wonder if Ralph Angel keeps singing this sad song, hoping that somebody will offer him the money for the wedding. But if he was expecting it to be Hollywood, he was in for a rude awakening, because Hollywood was the wrong person. He told Ralph Angel, why don't you get a job? And he even suggested this place that a friend of his works at overnight, some shrimp factory. And then this sorry Negro Ralph Angel had the nerve to turn up his nose at the offer. And then Hollywood said, when you get desperate enough, you do, and part of being a man is doing things that you don't necessarily want to do, but have to do. And he said, but I'm going to give you this number anyway, and what you do with it is up to you. And I was just like, Ralph Angel ought to be ashamed of himself. He's just like so used to people babying him and giving him what he wants that he don't even realize what he's doing. So everyone is having a good time, and it's an indoor party, like I said. So Charley is over on the side moping. She ain't happy. She disgusted that her grand festival with Ferris wheels and carnival games and all of this here done turned into a potluck dinner inside the sugar mill. So everybody's trying to console her and tell her don't feel that way. Everything is going to be okay. But while she's standing there looking, the Tamar Judith girl is on the stage performing. So Charley looking at her like, that heifer look a lot like me. She got that natural hair. I'm wearing my hair natural now. We got the same skin tone. Like, okay, I see you, Davis. So then Remy, he see her over there pounding, so he comes over to let her know that, she's missing the point of the whole festival thing. It was about the community coming together and celebrating and being proud of their own people, not needing the Landrys or anything for anybody. But Charley said she don't want to hear that because this ain't what she signed up for. This wasn't what she wanted. And so, he's still trying to drill the point into her that she won. Whether she thinks she won or not, she won because they still had the festival. The community still supported her. Everybody's celebrating and having a good time because they're just happy that the festival is back. So while the two are talking, Nova, she moseys over to put in her little 2 cents. But then Remy and Charley decide to go and dance. So as they walk off, Nova's looking kind of sad, knowing that her man should be there, but too dang prideful, to pick up the phone and call him and say, baby, I'm sorry, come on, see if you can make it. I mean, we done worked some miracles and wonders all for the past day. Surely you can get from Atlanta to New Orleans before this party is over with. So then Charley gets up, to announce the Brown Sugar Queen. But first, she wants to thank everyone for being there. And she thanks Davis for bringing Tamar Judith, who is standing with Davis. Making it obvious that they're a couple. Then she calls Remy, and to give him his kudos and say, he was such a great help. She couldn't have did this without him. And that, he is just this wonderful man. And she bent down and kissed him and was like, take that, Davis. How dare you bring that woman over here? So Davis, of course, is looking like, what the hell did she just do? And then Tamar looking up at him like, let me find out you still got feelings for this woman. So y'all know I'm just eating all this up and loving it because I said I wanted Davis and Charley. I know it's not a popular opinion, but I really do want Davis and Charley. Even if they don't get back together, I just need them to have that one last hoorah. Because I like Remy. I really do like Remy as a person, as a man. I just don't see that chemistry with him and Charley. So anyway, Charley, I don't know if you want to be playing that game with David, but I'm here for it. I'm here for it. So let's pause right here. Stick a chin in it. So Queen Sugar tried, they tried us with this episode. I've already mentioned about, the time frame and how unrealistic it was that they was going to do this festival. But they done changed venues 3 times, y'all, in a 24-hour. Actually, they done changed venues 5 times. Because it was going to be on the white man's property, then it was going to be at the church, then it was going to be at the farm, then it was going to be at Aunt Vi's, and it ended up being at the Sugar Mill. All this in a day's time. Okay. Then we got Kiki winning Miss Brown Sugar. Now, I have no doubt that Kiki deserved to win the crown of Miss Brown Sugar, but let's get back in the real world. In the real world, you can't own the sugar mill that's throwing the festival and then have the girl that your son is dating enter the pageant and then win the pageant. Like, where do they do that at? And then the other little girls, they was just smiling. Like they didn't even know what had just happened. I said, okay, so ain't nobody mad that Kiki dated Micah and won this crown. But it's television, so we're going to roll with it. We just going to let it roll off our shoulders, y'all. Like this kind, because we know this kind of stuff does happen every day, but it ain't this blatant. But whatever. So afterwards, Aunt Vi serving up her pie when Prosper comes over flirting again. So I don't know why we still got this thing going on between Aunt Vi and Prosper, but then Prosper took off his hat. And he asked Aunt Vi if she remembered the hat. So then they started talking about the history behind this hat. So then Nova walks up to come help, serve the pie. And then she starts talking about some revolt she started back in the 90s where, I don't know, I'm sure it was some feminist movement that she started. But anyway, Mr. Dubois, he rose up. I said, oh, okay. Maybe Robert does have backbone. So he came up and Nova said, what can I get for you, sir? He said, a little moment of your time. And that joker walked off. I was like, oh my God, he gonna put a little bass in his voice and straighten up his back. And so Nova wasn't about to challenge him in front of everybody. She walked on off, so he followed her and they went into this back room. And I'm just like, the man came to apologize. Said he'd do whatever to fix it, even told Nova he loved her. But y'all know Nova couldn't receive it. Couldn't receive it in the spirit it was given. So Nova talking about, if they do work things out, that they got to do it together. Translation. You have to see and do things my way in order for this to work out. So then he tells her, that the same thing he wants for himself, he wants for her. That he sees her greatness. She's a brilliant woman with a brilliant mind. He sees them conquering the world. He sees them as James and Mary Carville. He didn't say that, but that's pretty much where he was going. He was like, we can take your message and we can share it with the world. Not with the Ninth Ward, not with New Orleans, not with Louisiana, not with the Southwest, not with the United States, but we can take this message all over the world because Zika didn't start in America. He didn't say this either, but Zika didn't start in America. Zika started over there in one of them Central American countries like Brazil or somewhere. So why not take your message global? But Nova said no. I don't want to take my message global. I want to stay right here in the Ninth Ward where the people know me, where I'm comfortable, where I can talk to them with my intellect and they're inspired by how smart I am because they need me to bring this message to them because without me, they would be dumb and they wouldn't know what was going on. Okay, she didn't say that either, but that's basically what it amounted to, Nova. So, translation to his I want the same thing for you that I want for myself is I understand you have passion and drive and ideas just like I do. And I want to help you achieve those things. I want you to accomplish everything that you set out to do. But what Nova heard was that he wanted to mold her and make her into a new person, a person that she don't want to be, and that I want to control you and dictate how things will go. No, but get out your own way. Sometimes you have to just get out your own way. So at the end of the day, Nova is the person that Marianne Williams was talking about in her poem, Our Greatest Fear. So he tells Nova that he loves her. He asks her if she plans to spend the night for the rest of her life. So she took offense to that. And to be honest, I thought he was about to propose to Nova. And then I got concerned because I was like, okay, you don't know Nova well enough to be asking her to marry you. But what he was trying to tell her was that she needs to commit herself to the process. Like, are you content just having these little small time rallies and fields that people got to, overgrown fields that volunteers got to come and clean out just for you to get your message out? Or are you ready to get on the big stage? So then Nova accuses him of trying to make her disappear so she can become who he wants her to be. And I could imagine Trudy and Ernest having the same conversation at some point. And at that moment, I realized that Nova is so content being passed around by white men who would never be able to understand her or to even be on her level or understand the passion that she has for her people and for the community, because she's so afraid to be loved by a black man. Because a black man would clearly understand the things that she's talking about. And why not a black man that has the inroads, that has the opportunity, that has the stage, that has the platform? And I just think the greatness of Robert just made her feel so insecure and the more he talked about the possibilities of what they could be, like the smaller she felt in her own mind. Because, how we perceive things is really 9/10 of our reality. And if we perceive that we can't be great or do great things, and that's exactly what our reality becomes. So like I said at the beginning, I'm so tired of these borderline kids. Like, they are all exhausting. And the writing on the show, like, I used to think, oh wow, this is some deep complex writing that they have going on Queen Sugar. But the truth is, it's annoying. And I had this conversation with a friend of mine because, first of all, I don't know any other writers on Queen Sugar. Don't know them personally, don't know their backgrounds, don't know their upbringing, how they grew up. Like, I'm just basing what I'm about to say on the writing of the show. And being a writer and knowing that you draw from experiences, whether it's your personal experiences or it's the experiences that you have been exposed to. That's where your best writing is drawn from. So when I see the writing on this show, I'm thinking, yeah, it was cool to say, hey, all the women that work on all the people that work on Queen Sugar are women. They are, the writers are all women. I'm thinking that the producers might all be women. The directors, may all be women. But now we're seeing what happens when you have that female perspective only. And you don't have any men writing for the show, because you don't have any balance. And I think the reason we got all these broken women, all these women that are so hardened in their position, all these women that can't be soft, is because we have women writing for the show who may not have had that experience or seen that experience. And so they're just writing from the broken, bitter places within their lives. And I think that's just a really dangerous place to be. And so I'm going to leave that at that there. Put that out there, for you guys. Let me know what you think about that. But getting back to this show. So the show ends with a short scene with Ralph Angel and Darla, when she tells him that she talked to her parents and she wants to have a wedding. And then Ralph Angel seems to be open to whatever Darla was saying, because I really couldn't make out what they were saying because they were hugging and kissing and then she was talking so low. But they seemed happy when the scene went away from them. It was earlier in the show where, because remember in the last episode I said that, I don't know when was the last time Charley or Darla have actually worked. But earlier in the show, there was a scene where Darla asked Ralph Angel if he could take Blue on some field trip or a party he was supposed to be going to, because Charley wanted her to go and wait on the people to come with the Ferris wheels that never show. But anyway, back to the end of the show. Now we got Charley actually in her office sitting at her desk. So David stops by, and I think it was still the day of the festival. It was the night of the festival, because he said that Tamar had left and he was waiting on her to leave or something. But anyway, she thanks Davis for bringing Tamar, and so Davis smiling and everything, but it's short lived, because he tells Charley that he's leaving for LA, and then she looked like she was about to ask him why, but then she changed her mind. So he was like, oh, so you're not gonna ask me why? So she said, no, because that's not my concern anymore. So then he thinking that she getting flipped at the mouth because she jealous about the Tamar chick. So David said that oh, Tamar ain't no big deal. And then Charley was like, good. Well, Remy is a big deal. So then Davis was like, oh, I got one better for you, Charley. I'm sorry for everything. Boy, Charley jaw dropped, like, what? He apologized? He's sorry? Oh my God. But then Davis didn't give her a chance to respond, because he turned around and walked out. Like, marinate on that while I'm going to Los Angeles. Think about what could have been if I had said I was sorry in the beginning and we decided to work this thing out. That was it, guys. Let me know what you thought about the episode. Leave your comments below. Rate the video. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And until the next time, I shall talk to you guys later. Bye-bye.